welcome. So welcome aboard, everybody. Come on in. What you waiting for? So much time, so little to see. Strike that. Reverse it. Those photos over the next 2 weeks, make sure you hold on nice and tight to those cameras and phones. We're going to be going over a lot of rough terrain, and if they fall out for any reason, we cannot go back to get them. So hold on tight. Go ahead and take a look up above you where you'll see an animal spotting guide that'll help you identify some of the many animals we'll get to see out there over the next 2 weeks. Of course, there is no guarantee we'll see them all, as they do run freely around the reserve, but I know a lot of great spots, so we usually have some pretty good luck. And it looks like we've got it, guys. So let's get started right here in the Little Aturi Forest. Now, the animals here in the forest do have a lot of natural camouflage, and that'll make them pretty tough to spot. So feel free to play along. If y'all spot anything, let me know. We're all on the same team here, guys. Take a look over there on the right-hand side. You're going to see a big brown animal with a zebra-striped legs, and that is called an okapi. Now, okapi, even though they have those zebra-striped legs, actually have nothing to do with the zebra at all. They're actually the only known relative of the giraffe. It's kind of like a short giraffe with different clothes on. Giraffes live out on the savannah. They want to be nice and tall and eat off the tall trees, but the okapi live here in the forest, and they are very, very shy. So they prefer to be a little more compact, a little more easily able to disappear, and that extra bit of camouflage they have does a great job of helping them blend in here in the forest.
Using your binoculars. Good. See the bird?
Now, I did see a black rhino up here to the left, but he went just behind these rocks. Let's see if he'll poke his head back out where we can see him. As we come around here, we might be able to look back again. Oh, there he's coming out here. Let's see. Black rhinos are really tough to spot these days. There's only about 5,000 of them left in the entire world, and that is due, of course, to poaching for their horns. Their horns are believed to have medicinal value in certain cultures around the world, but are actually just the exact same substance as our hair and fingernails. Now, it might sound crazy to you guys, the people who go through all the effort to poach the animals for fingernails, but that's where going home, learning more about these animals, and sharing that with others can actually help make a real difference and a real impact in their lives out here in Africa.
That's a rhino.
By working together, we can help combat that old superstition and hopefully eliminate the market for rhino horns altogether. All right, coming up here on the left-hand side, you're going to see some reddish coppery-colored animals, and these are called bongos, just like the drum, bongo. You often hear them referred to as the ghosts of the forest because they're actually pretty tough to spot. Some greater kudu back there in the bushes as well. Alrighty guys, we're going to go and make our way out to the Selfie River now, which, as you might guess from the name, is a pretty good place to spot some water-dwelling creatures. Now, the first pool we're going to come to can be a little tough to spot in because of the way the glare comes off the rocks, but there is another pool up ahead on our left where I think we're going to have some really good ones, so hang tight, guys. Over here to the left-hand side, you're going to see a pod of pink-back pelicans, which you get the name from the patch of pink they get on their back during mating season. It's how they let each other know that they are single and ready to mingle. Oh, take a look here to our left-hand side, guys. You're going to see a whole bunch of Nile crocodile. Now, he's not a crocodile. Will get as much as 16 to 20 feet long, which is about as long as a giraffe is tall. They've actually been known to jump almost their entire body length out of the water, but we're not going to stick around here and let them prove it. I do want to recommend going home and looking up a video of those guys jumping up out of the water. They'll go from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, using that powerful tail to whip themselves out of the water like a really ugly mermaid.
Ugly mermaid.
Now we're going to go ahead and make our way out to the savannah. The savannah is a completely different ecosystem with different animals, but you'll probably recognize this area of the reserve. It tends to be the one that comes to mind when people think of Africa. It's got your wide open grasslands, the tall acacia trees, and it's also home to a lot of the more celebrity animals, things like your elephants and lions and giraffes. So be on the lookout for your favorites out here, guys. Now, while this area is called a savanna, that's the type of ecosystem, just like we came from the forest, we're heading into the savanna. This area more specifically and geographically is referred to as the Serengeti grasslands. And they stretch for hundreds of miles across the continent of Africa, and they use it as a migratory superhighway for tons of different species every year. So be on the lookout for lots of really cool, really diverse wildlife out here, folks. Chances are you'll get to see some pretty cool stuff. So baby giraffe over there to the right-hand side, guys. Take a look. Giraffes can be as much as 6 feet tall when they're born, so they get a pretty good little head start on being the tallest land animal in the world. The first thing that those little guys will discover is gravity, and that's because their mamas give birth standing up. So they've got quite a little tumble to welcome them into the world, but they'll bounce right back up, and they'll actually be walking within about an hour and a half. All right, guys, take a look over here to the right-hand side. You're going to see some eland out there, and it looks like they actually have a little baby eland as well. Do you see that little baby over there, guys? Looks like it's probably just a couple months old. Now, that eland's dad back there probably stands well over 6 feet tall just at his shoulders, weighs almost 2,000 pounds. Most of us standing next to that big eland over there would not even come up to his back. That's how big he is. It's really hard to tell from up here on the truck just how big these animals are, but hopefully that'll give you some kind of idea. There's definitely a den here to our left-hand side. I can't quite tell if anybody's home. Oh, there's a hyena right there, guys. Look at that. Now, contrary to popular belief, hyenas are not scavengers. They do hunt just like any other predator. They are, however, very opportunistic. You often find them stealing from a leopard or a cheetah. Those animals are very timid, not really willing to put up a fight with one of these hyenas, so running over and snatching their prey from them makes a pretty quick and easy meal.
So they laid down
over
there.
Two of them there.
They're on top. They laid down.
And there goes sleep.
They're sleeping, exactly. Sleeping.
Look at that little baby eland over there, guys. Now, these tall mounds you see up ahead are actually termite mounds, and they'll get to be as hard as concrete. You know, they're probably wondering what they're made out of, and it's not the first thing you'll think of, but it's definitely number two. Termites really only have one opening. It's used both as an entrance and an exit. So you often hear these termite mounds referred to as a mixture of saliva and dung, and that's because they both come from the same place. We'll hang out back here so they have plenty of time and space. Some great animals out there. Those are white-bearded wildebeest. Wildebeest are one of those animals famous for migrating through these Serengeti grasslands every year.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen a nature documentary about Africa, you've probably seen at least one segment on the massive herds of wildebeest that travel through here every year. They can travel in groups of over 1 million. Herds of that magnitude truly have the power to shape entire landscapes, with their millions of hooves pounding the dirt every single day. Just one of the many ways the animals out here work to shape their landscape, just as much as it works to shape them. Up ahead, you're also going to see some huge horns sticking up. Those horns belong to some Ankole cattle, which are the only domesticated animals here on the reserve. But they're not used for meat or milk like most domesticated domesticated species, they're actually considered to be a symbol of wealth. And the farmers who raise them take a ton of pride in these guys. Despite being used as a symbol of wealth, the horns are not just for show either. They actually do serve a very real purpose. They're filled with a bunch of blood vessels, and their blood will pump up into those horns where it'll cool off and then circulate back down to their bodies, and that's how they're able to stay nice and cool out here on the reserve.
Hey, buffaloes! The buffaloes have big.
Alright guys, we're going to head around the corner here, and you'll notice there's a couple of fallen trees. That's usually a pretty good sign that there might be some elephants in the neighborhood. A lot of times to save the effort of reaching up to the top of the tall trees, elephants will just go ahead and knock the whole thing down and go to town. They've got quite the appetite, so finishing off a whole tree's worth of vegetation is not entirely out of the question for them. Over here to the left-hand side, guys, it looks like there is a couple of mandrills hanging out.
Type of monkey.
And look over there to the right-hand side, guys. There is a massive bull elephant out there. Check that out.
No way. Give it.
Here, Aubrey. Aubrey. I'll give you a fist bump. There you go.
No way.
A big fellow like this can eat as much as 300 pounds a day, but elephants actually have very inefficient stomachs, so most of what they eat comes right out the other side. And that serves a very important role in the ecosystem here in Africa, because as they're eating off the trees, they'll consume fruits and seeds, and then when they use the bathroom, they deposit those in a nice little packet of fertilizer all around the savannah. It's a really great example of why elephant conservation is so important beyond just the elephants themselves. They truly are a very large part of an even larger ecosystem, and to lose those guys would not only be devastating for elephants and for people like me, but for the other animals, the plants, even the landscape itself would be completely different without them. I do see some ellies way out there in the distance. If you look straight ahead, all the way out there, you can see a couple of those elephants hanging out. Now, in addition to eating a lot of food, elephants also drink a lot of water. They can drink as much as 50 gallons a day just to survive. And that can be a lot easier said than done, especially here in Africa during the dry season. So the matriarch of the herd, the dominant female, will lead her family on a journey of hundreds of miles every single year, going from watering hole to watering hole, making sure everybody has plenty to drink. And she doesn't just wander around and get lucky, she's actually following a mental map that her and her family have followed for generations before her. It's really amazing the amount of information that elephants are able to learn and store and communicate, even across the years. Now the huge trees you see around us are actually called baobab trees. You'll probably recognize them by their nickname, the Tree of Life, which they get because they store thousands of gallons of water within their trunks. Elephants have actually figured out that water's in there, and they'll come along and use their tusks to poke holes in the trunk and then drink the water out, kind of like their own little elephant water tower. I was actually once on a trip down south to Botswana, and I saw one of these baobab trees that had been struck by lightning, and when it did, it boiled all the water on the inside and literally blew the tree up and left it laying in a little puddle of mush on the ground. Coming up here on the left-hand side, guys, you're going to see a flamboyance of flamingos. These are greater flamingo, which are the tallest of the flamingo species. They'll get as much as 5 feet tall. They're also the lightest color pink. They get that color pink from the shrimp that they eat, which is also where they get their delightful smell.
Look at flamingo. Hey, are you taking pictures?
Now you can tell that these are white rhinos by looking at the shape of their mouths. White rhinos have very wide, square mouths, and that's because they are grazers. They like to eat off the ground and get big clumps of grass with each bite. Black rhinos, on the other hand, are browsers. They like to eat off of bushes and trees, so they have a more rounded face with kind of a pointy lip that works more like a finger to help them pluck stuff off the vegetation. Believe it or not, the shape of their lips is the easiest way to tell the difference between the two. The terms white and black rhino are basically useless because they're both gray. So it kind of looks like these guys are fighting, but that's not what's going on. Believe it or not, this is actually flirting. Oh. Yeah.
What's the difference?
The fighting. Yeah, boy. Come on, Rhino. Fight. Buffalo.
No, rhinos.
Looks like we've stumbled upon 4 more rhinos here, guys. On top of the hill to the left, it does look like there is a cheetah up there. And then here to the right-hand side, guys, you're going to see a couple of MOUNTDOG. Now, MOUNTDOG are actually my favorite animals here on the reserve. They're kind of notorious for their poor athletic ability, which is something that I really relate to. Believe it or not, though, it's actually because of their poor athletic ability that we're able to see them here today. At one point in time, there's only 17 MOUNTDOG left in the entire world. You could have counted every single one using just your fingers and your toes. Fortunately, a farmer out here in Africa realized that numbers are pretty quickly dwindling, and he went out and built a fence around them. Had there been pretty much any other species of antelope, they would have just jumped out of that fence and ran away, but they're not. They're MOUNTDOG, and MOUNTDOG are just really bad at jumping. So because of that, they weren't able to escape. That farmer was able to focus on breeding those guys, and because of his work, the numbers are now considered stable and continue to rise every single day. There's now entire reserves dedicated just to those little MOUNTDOG, and they're no longer considered in threat of total extinction, which is pretty amazing, guys. It really just goes to show the power that one person can have to truly make a difference in the lives of the animals here in Africa.
Lions? No way.
Look at that, guys. It looks like there's a couple of lions here on the left-hand side.
Come on, lion. Whoa.
Now, I have to be honest with you guys. It's pretty much what lions do. They sleep about 16 to 20 hours out of every single day. They're typically most active at night. That's when they prefer to hunt. Their night vision is about 6 times better than ours. They've also got a really good sense of smell. So they like to save their energy for the nighttime when they have those added advantages over their prey.
And there's father. Well, where is the key? Mama?
Now coming up here on the right-hand side, guys, it looks like there's a little toasted marshmallow hanging out. This is called a scimitar horned oryx. Now this guy's got a pretty awesome story. At one point in time, they were completely extinct out in the wild. The only ones left were in human care in zoos around the world. But a bunch of zookeepers got together, started breeding these guys, and eventually reintroduced them into the wild. And their numbers are now steadily rising as well. Now this little body of water is known as the finale waters because unfortunately they do mark the end of our safari adventure. I know those 2 weeks went by so fast, they felt like 20 minutes, but that's okay, folks. There's still plenty more to see and do back at home. I want to invite you guys to continue your educational journey by visiting the website DisneyAnimals.com to learn more about the animals that live here in Harambe. I also want to invite you to make a contribution to the Disney Conservation Fund. That fund goes to support wildlife conservation efforts all around the world for many of your favorite animals, including many of the ones you get to see out here today. So I like to say Kwaherini, which means go well. Once again, folks, my name is Lee. It's been a pleasure having you guys here on safari with me the past 2 weeks. I sure to miss you guys and all those beautiful memories we made together out there on the reserve. Hold it. Kwaherini, folks, have a great day out there in the wild. Sante Sana, thank you very much, and Karamusana, you were all very welcome. See you later, guys. Have a great day. See you later.